Owen, thank you so much for joining and telling us and sharing your stories about how you have been using Contribly. I really appreciate it. Would you mind telling me, first of all, maybe your name, where do you work? Introduce yourself, please.
Sure thing. So thanks for having me. My name's Owen Seabrook. I'm a Leeds-based social impact documentary director and co-founder of a production company called Tell Studio. Originally from the Northwest, but I've lived in Leeds since 2015. And last year, 2023, we released a 30-minute knife crime documentary, which is on the screen behind me, called Cut Short: Fighting Against Knives in the North. And we released it as an independent production from Tell Studio with no commissioner, completely crowdfunded, and it was to tackle knife crime amongst young people. So it was a film that we came up with based on the stories of Sarah and a young man called Wilson, both of whom have been affected by knife crime. And we decided to use their stories as a vehicle to try and educate young people.
It sounds like you've made an absolutely fantastic documentary, and that there is so much room to create massive impact in the community. I absolutely love it. And before you started working with Contribly, like what was your aim? What were you trying to achieve? What led you to want to use the tools?
So our approach to all the work we do is we try to think not just about the film, but how the film is then going to be used by the people who have it. So we knew that we wanted to make a documentary that was going to engage teenage sort of age, like 12 to 18-year-olds who might be at risk of knife crime. And the way to facilitate that would be to make it something that an educator or a youth worker would really want to use. And so we thought it can't just be a documentary on its own. We need to be providing things like worksheets, teaching plans, stats about knife crime, regional information about police figures and knife confiscations and how young perpetrators are. When we met you, we were trying to figure out what that package looked like. And one of the things that we thought would be really good is that obviously our expertise is in creating the film, but teachers know how to adapt the stuff. And we never wanted to say, teach it this way, it's only meant to be taught this way. So when we met you, our package was pretty much in place, but you gave us through Contribly the cherry on the top that was a way of, first of all, allowing teachers to just feedback on how their sessions went, which in itself is credibility for the resources, but also really surprising ways of how they've done it. And we were open with teachers when we've supplied the film to say, you make this, you lead this session in whatever way you want, whether you want to show the whole film, 5 minutes of the film, do worksheets, you can make it your own. And so we have educators coming back and saying, we've projected the film on a side of a street where these kids play football, and we've adapted it into a 25-minute form session. And all of these like different ideas of using the film, some of which are really off the wall, but all really engaging. And so other teachers who are signing up for the content can look at what people who have already used it have done and use that to inspire their own education approach.
I think the way that you are opening that two-way conversation with teachers is so powerful. I really think that that's part of what can make change, is the two-way conversation. And those great examples, could you tell me a bit about the results that you've had from the documentary and the feedback that teachers have given?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of just the documentary itself, we know that it is in at least 250 different youth-facing organisations around the country. A large proportion of that is in Leeds. There's also a big proportion in London, but then we've got people who have picked it up in Wales, in Scotland, in places that are like opposite ends of the country compared to us. So we've got a really good national spread of the feedback that has come back. So we ask within the Contribly form how many young people have seen the film. What was your class size? And that's also a figure that we ask teachers to speculate on when they apply for the film. In terms of that speculative figure, we know that there is a potential reach of something like 150,000 young people could potentially see this. Like teachers are saying, my school has got 3,000 kids. So all those numbers added up as 150,000. Now, teachers are notoriously really busy and really bad on emails because they are so, which I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
So the amount of teachers that have taken the time to come back and feedback is not as many as we probably could get. I know that it's been used more than the feedback forms that we've received, but we've got 13 really strong pieces of feedback from different educators across the country. And some of those within their information have told us that the number of young people that have definitely seen the film it's at least in the single digit thousands. Like it's, you know, it's somewhere around the kind of 5,000 mark. And that's numbers that we know that young, you know, it's reached young people. That sort of response from the teachers. So I've actually got the webpage up here. We launched the film in October 2023, and unfortunately, really shortly after, there was a young man called Alfie Lewis who was killed just outside Leeds. We gave the film to his school shortly after, and they described it as an educator's dream. They said it was very thought-provoking. We had 4 sessions of 1 hour for year 10, 11, 12, and 13. My old high school in outside St. Helens have used it in a form session, and they said that they responded well to statistics exercises, and it provoked a lot of discussion. The students loved it. They felt it was professional, enjoyed the real life stories. It showed them the real life consequences of getting involved in knife crime. Notre Dame High School in South Yorkshire has said it was received really well. They did 6 40-minute sessions. The messages are really powerful. North Bromsgrove High School and Sixth Form in Worcestershire say it was very hard-hitting, sobering thoughts, particularly with recent high-profile knife attacks in Birmingham. So the responses are both like geographically really far spread, but also just really, really strong, like really positive. And being able to just have a single form where a teacher can upload an image, say where they're based, and say how their kids responded to it, I think that just makes that so much easier for a teacher that's already so busy with their day-to-day responsibilities.
Definitely. And for you specifically, what have the benefits of using Contribly been?
I think it's just given us a real, first of all, like a time saver, just in that being able to say, look, here's this link, gives you feedback there. It's a something like a 7-field form. It's going to take you a minute. Just literally the ease of having that and building that into our resources is amazing. And then also being able to then look back at that, you know, retroactively when we're taking those accounts and reports and we're summarizing things, to say, you know, it just collates all that information in one place. It gives teachers a really easy way to upload images and provide statistics, and it just makes it all so easy to bring together and build into a nice report that we can then reel off to someone like yourself.
I love how you're using it, and I'm genuinely quite touched from Contribly's side, because I was a secondary school teacher in an inner city school, and there was a lot of knife crime there, and that was one of the reasons that I really wanted to get involved in this project. So I want to say thank you for letting me have a little bit of an impact, even though I didn't create the documentary, because it's something that I have dealt with day in and day out for quite a while, and I really want change to happen in the country.
Well, we've discovered along the course of making this that there's a field of film producing called impact producing, where you make a piece of film, but then you do that extra mile and think about how it's used. And we didn't realize there was a name for that until we made Cut Short. And what you've created for us is an integral piece of that pipeline. Like in the world of impact producing, you take the film, but then you look at what precedes it and how many parties you can bring into it, because they will then be your champions when the film is released. And you look at how you can create tangible impact and tangible engagement after the film, and in what mechanisms they are, whether it's like a roundtable or a series of discussions or a public screening. And having this little feedback portal is such an integral part of that. So thank you for letting us build that into our pipeline.
Would you work with Contribly again in the future, and why would you work with them?
Yes, definitely. I think there is way more. I mean, I know Contribly initially was built out of a journalism tool, and we found a use for it in our documentary, you know, as a feedback mechanism. I'm sure there are loads more untapped applications that Contribly could be used for, and we would definitely work with it again and yourself, because it's a really, really powerful thing that actually implements really well into like our website. It's really easy to get our head around. We are just about to embark on a very exciting new development where we're bringing a very high-tech motion capture facility into our studio in the centre of Leeds, which is something that isn't seen in the north. And I bet there's a way of bringing that into Contribly and bringing those together. So yeah, I would absolutely love to work with you again.
That is very exciting. And thank you so much for your time, Owen.
No worries. Thank you for having me.